The railways, well, good luck, everybody.
It is the busiest travel weekend of the year. You'll be pleased to know as you're packing the car this morning. 14 million cars will be on the road. Strong winds, engineering works on the trains too. Simon Calder is travel correspondent of The Independent. Morning, Simon.
Good morning. Yes, and exactly as you say, the shortest day of the year, and one where if you have begun, for instance, your Christmas journey already and you're sitting in the car, please feel very smug, especially if you're going to get to wherever you're going by about 11s, because you will miss the worst of it. If conversely you were hoping to, for instance, catch a train to or from London St Pancras to Derby to Nottingham to Leicester to Sheffield, well, you're going to have to wait till the 30th of December because that's one of many rail cancellations. And I'm afraid we've got some disruption both on ferries, particularly Caledonian McBrain in Scotland, and also in flights, seeing some cancellations at Heathrow, which are going to make life tricky for some people today.
Well, Simon, you may know that I am in the Western Isles Bureau for Times Radio this weekend, ahead of our big Christmas Day breakfast. On Christmas Day, obviously, and where I'm sitting, the wind and the rain is absolutely lashing the window beside me. So the ferry cancellations and indeed flight delays and disruption this weekend to the Western Isles of Scotland, I am living it. It's exactly what happens at this time of year. I mean, there are millions and millions of people on the move. In terms of how to best address this, what can you do? Do you just have to kind of lump it at this point if today's the day you're travelling?
Well, you're in the kind of strongest position if you're driving, and it's very clear the motoring organisations say avoid driving between 1 and 6 this afternoon. In particular, you've got the AA warning of specific shopping areas, so Meadowhall in South Yorkshire, the Trafford Centre in Manchester, the Bluewater complex in Kent. Those will be well worth avoiding, as will, the usual suspects really, western half of the M25, the M1 heading between about Luton and Northampton, M6 through the West Midlands, and wherever you're, and also looking at the M5 south from Bristol towards Taunton. Those are all going to be busy, but as we saw yesterday, problems can pop up. You get a broken down car and suddenly everything gets very tricky. Yeah, if you're driving, start very early or leave it till after tea time, at which point you will be able to hopefully drive fairly smoothly. So that's on the roads. The railways, well, good luck, everybody. The services, apart from the St Pancras to Leicester and Sheffield line, most services will continue until early evening on Christmas Eve. Bear in mind that the last trains, particularly say an Anglo-Scottish train, is going to be leaving probably late afternoon, so make sure you get where you need to be. No trains at all anywhere on Christmas Day. Boxing Day, very few, just airport services, London to Gatwick, London to Stansted Airport, and quite a number of trains actually around Merseyside. And then 27th, so next Friday, when everything should be coming back to life on the trains, well, it won't be at the UK's busiest railway station, London Liverpool Street. That's going to be closed all the way through from Christmas Day to New Year's Day, and indeed London Paddington, which is the hub for the west of England and South Wales. That's going to be closing from Christmas Day until the 30th of December. There will be some trains actually running an odd line from kind of Penzance and Plymouth and Exeter to London, and then ending up in London Euston, which is weird for people who are used to knowing where their trains come from. Elsewhere, you've got work in the Crewe area on the West Coast Main Line, and that's going to merge seamlessly with the resumption of strikes by Avanti West Coast train managers. They begin on New Year's Eve, and they will be striking intermittently for the next 5 months.
Good grief. Okay, so it's a pretty disrupted Christmas period, basically. Shall we have a quick mention of airports as well? Somebody I was talking to the other day knows a whole bunch of people who are off to Cape Town, or at least South Africa, for Christmas. What are the other kind of top destinations, particularly for people leaving around now and people travelling during Christmas itself?
Okay, well, I've got exactly what the top destinations are in terms of the number of flights, and it's you think what that's weird. So in fifth place, if I can get this right, you've got Tenerife. Okay, lovely, big, beautiful Canary Island. So that's fantastic. Then you've got Geneva. People going off obviously skiing to the French Alps. Paris Charles de Gaulle. Now that's some people going to perhaps see the newly revived Notre Dame, but it's also lots of people changing planes, going to places like Cape Town. Second place, Dublin, and part of that is, I think, because of the ferry link. The main ferry between Holyhead and Dublin is closed for at least the next 3 weeks. Prices there going through the roof for flights. I was having a look today, over £500 on some Ryanair flights from Stansted or Gatwick to
Ryanair.
Dublin. Yeah, well,
so you need to add extra charges for a seatbelt, don't you?
Well, that's what the market will bear, I think they would say. And even Aer Lingus from Manchester to Dublin, which is kind of a half-hour hop, that's £275 this afternoon, because so many people in northwest England, you would normally just get the ferry across. I'm also, and you've been mentioning the storms, that's going to cause problems. So today, British Airways has got about 14 short-haul cancellations, as has Swiss to and from Zurich, also KLM from Amsterdam. And that's what happens when the air traffic controllers say, sorry, you've got to slow things down because it's going to be windy. That's likely to continue tomorrow. Somebody's just told me their flight to Miami has been cancelled. I haven't yet verified that, but it's going to be quite lively. And we've also got one of those weird diversions, the flight from New Orleans due in about 4 hours' time to London Heathrow, suddenly turned around over Canada and is going to Boston, trying to find out what's happening there. The airports are going to be incredibly busy tomorrow, particularly Gatwick, Manchester, Stansted, and many others have their busiest day of the winter tomorrow. For Edinburgh Airport, it's actually next Friday. But wherever you're going, can I just mention security? Because I used to frisk people at Gatwick Airport, so please don't wrap up.
That was when you were employed in the security.
Yeah, I was definitely employed. Yeah, and you don't wrap up your presents beautifully because somebody might have to unwrap them. Don't take snow domes; they're counted as liquids, so they're going to be confiscated. And Christmas crackers, the rules are all over the place, so please leave those behind.
That is very, very good advice. As always, Simon, thank you so much. Have a great Christmas.
And you.
We'll catch you then. That's Simon Calder, who is travel correspondent of The Independent. 2 thoughts strike me. One, there's nothing quite like the magic of an airport at Christmas. I think going through a departure lounge at Christmas time.
No, that's horrific. Horrific.
It's just full of joy-filled people travelling around the world to be reunited. They've got their presents. They're hurriedly buying things in the fancy shops at Terminal 5.
I can't think of anything worse.
It's magical. And also,
but that's because you always have to travel home.
Well, yes, that's true.
Whereas for me, travelling home is getting in the car.
Yeah,
it's not. So it's the way you it's what you associate, isn't it, with kind of like a homecoming and what your Christmas is.
Yeah, that's true.
But actually, my parents come to us now, so it's fine.
Oh, that's good. I was just looking too, because Simon was mentioning going to Dublin, which I'm doing just after New Year, and he was saying £500 a ticket on Ryanair. I was just checking. I've paid absolutely a tiny fraction of that, and I'm certainly not flying with them. I'm going with somebody else. And it's just so much cheaper. You've got to be organised, people. You've got to be organised.
Well, that's what it is, isn't it? It is organisation.
Make your plans. Yeah, absolutely. There you are. Those are my thoughts.
Good. Thanks. Thanks for the rant.